Alright, here we are again with another cup. This is where it starts to get really interesting in terms of icons of the cups. For instance, the Lucky Cat cup, I'm like, huh? But I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, that that's just a reference to one, the cat bell power up, but I think it's specifically a Bowser Sphere thing. But I could be wrong on that. I actually haven't played Bowser's Fury very much. I remember I started it very briefly at some point and then did not get very far at all. I think I got through maybe the first Bowser battle thing, but then I ended up not continuing. And I don't even know why I stopped, to be honest. But one of these days, maybe I'll get back to it. Maybe I'll add that to my bucket list of games to get back to. Which I feel like at this point, there's already quite a bit that I need to go back and actually play. Like, for example, if I'm thinking of the list of games I need, I've started and haven't finished, that I need to go back and finish. Somehow, Pokemon Moon and then Pokemon Violet are both on there. And it's really dumb because in Pokemon Violet, I literally got to the last spot, and then I just stopped before the final battle of the game. And looking back on it, I don't even remember a strong reason why. I guess maybe I was just bored of it or something. But I'd never finished that, and I should go back and do that. And then it was kind of the same with Pokemon Moon. I had finished all of the whatever the gym leaders in that one are called. I think it's trials, which is technically what they call them. But I finished all of those, and then I didn't end up doing just the end game stuff with. Pretty sure that one, also has stuff with Lucamine, and then, but I literally beat Guzma and Team Skull and all that. So that's also on my list of games to do, as well as Bug Fables. I started Bug Fables and honestly had a pretty good time with it, and again, I played through probably completing kind of the first one or two major chapters or areas, because I remember I had finally gotten a full party. So I also need to go back and finish that one, because I also didn't finish that game. There's just a lot of games that just due to the circumstances, or just honestly sometimes I feel like I don't even have the best reason. Sometimes I feel like I just put it down and then kind of gets forgotten. But there's a decent list of games that honestly I really do need to get back to and actually go and complete, because it's really funny, and I feel like a lot of the games that end up on this list aren't even games that I don't like. I definitely understand the perspective of if I started playing a game and then I decided that either the game just didn't fit my style of gaming, just wasn't for me, or if I genuinely just thought that the game was bad or anything, it feels it would make a ton of sense for me to just abandon some of these games. But ironically, it's all these games that I can think of don't fall into that category. They're actually games that I actually enjoyed playing quite a bit and then just never ended up finishing it for whatever reason. But I need to actually make a personal list so that I can figure out, which games I need to go back to, even because those ones that I all just mentioned are kind of just off the top of my head. I haven't done extensive thinking about everything that could be on that list, because I'm sure it'd actually be kind of extensive when I think about it. But I'm sure there's plenty of you that have also, kind of have had the same issue of just whether life gets busy or, whatever it is, you just end up like dropping a game or a project and then you're meaning to find the time to get back to it, and then it just, doesn't happen. Gonna be honest, that's like, I feel bad about it in terms of like YouTube stuff, because like that happens to me actually quite a bit for YouTube stuff as well, where I start a project or I have like an idea for a project and get like footage recorded and like start editing and doing all that kind of stuff, and then I literally, for one reason or another, just end up not doing anything more with it. And I always feel bad when I do that with YouTube stuff, just because I'm like, I feel like, there are some people that probably really enjoy that specific type of content, and it really sucks to end up accidentally feeling like, you disappointed some people by scrapping a project that someone would enjoy. But it's kind of the curse of, having like all these ideas, and then in terms of practice and effort, and realizing that you just don't have the time for all of that. But I'm like, other than that, I feel like I've been kind of talking a bit, just like more like personal project than like serious. But it's like trying to get to more of a lighthearted topic. It's like this cup that I'm playing through right now. Gonna be honest, this is where I feel like I get to a lot of stages that, again, I'm just very unfamiliar with. And to be fair, I believe this one, Ninja Hideaway, is a new stage. So it's like, in a little bit of my defense, some of these stages are newer. So I know that, in this game, and even in the DLC, there are some specific stages that are still yet to come up that are, brand new stages made for the DLC. So, I feel like that's part of it. But I'm like, a lot of these, as we get into a lot of the DLC cups, I feel like, just because, probably mostly because it is, part of the DLC, and so you haven't had, as much time to get used to it like some of the other cups, because I feel like, that's the thing with a bunch of like the normal cups, is the fact that not only have you had the cups since the launch of this game, but technically a lot of the cups, because Mario Kart 8 Deluxe was on the Wii U, which I actually did end up, having a copy on the Wii U, because I did have a Wii U. So a lot of these are kind of like, in a way, I've had like extra time to practice some of these. But I feel like a lot of these specific like DLC cups, I ended up struggling with a bit more. And even if, I did manage to first place them, I feel like it was still, a lot more of a struggle than maybe some of the other ones, because of the fact that, I'm kind of going through it in a way, trying to learn it to an extent as I'm also trying to play it, but I feel like for the most part, a lot of the time it ended up being pretty okay. I think for this stage specifically, Ninja Hideaway, is you kind of reach the end area, and there's kind of that sharp corner at the end if you go up on the high route. That, gonna be honest, I'm really bad at hitting, and so I think just for safety's sake, I chose to do the low route, even though I still missed it right there. But I'm like, that corner specifically is so difficult. And in the first recording I did of this, because, you know, I recorded a bunch of these cups before, and then had my settings set in a way that I did not like the quality that it turned out in, so I re-recorded them. But in like my first go around of recording all these, I feel like Ninja Hideaway specifically was one of the stages I struggled on a bunch just because of that last jump. I ended up falling so many times, and it ended up being a whole thing. So I am pretty glad that in this go around it was actually much kinder on me, and at least I had enough of a distance to be able to win. But that'll be all for this one. I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a good one.